AKAPADers, let's just get right into it. Promising Young Woman is a movie you should watch. You should have it in your brain. You should be well aware of its existence. If the thumbnail of this episode is of an image, because I normally use the movie posters for the thumbnail images. If it's an image you're not familiar with, get familiar with it. Because this movie deserves every single piece of your attention. This movie is important. This movie is incredible. This movie is the definition of filmmaking and cinema. It's small, with a giant idea, and we're with the character, the main character, our character, us, every single second of this movie. What happens by the end? We are sad and disappointed. This movie sticks with you when you're done watching it. So for this episode of AKAPAD's Audio Audacity, join me. We're going to go back in time. We're going to go back to 2020, only 4 years ago. Promising Young Woman, directed by Emerald Fennell. If you don't know her, she's the girl behind Salt.
Quiet on the set!
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Yeah, so a lot of times, like, what are we doing with this podcast? What are we doing with this journey? You guys know the mission statement. Every film I've seen, and who am I? AKAPAD 69 Peter A. DeLuca. I am the film buff. But every single movie I've seen, I want to bring to you. I've seen Promising Young Woman twice. Solomon, around the time it came out, I believe it dropped on Peacock in 2001. A couple years went by, and I watched Saltburn. And like I said, sometimes I just want to get right into it. So I watched Saltburn, and I need a little bit of perspective of the filmmaker, just what the ideas, the techniques, the approach. You're right, because if you watch enough movies, you see patterns. You see patterns in filmmakers, even writers, even composers, even distribution houses. You see patterns. So I'm like, what? Who else did this person, like, what other movie did this person direct? Who else did they work with? At the time, like the name Emerald Fennell, it wasn't in my lexicon. Now, we all have a lot of movies directed by this, and let's just call her a babe, because she's incredibly, there's nothing more attractive than a talented female, AKAPADers. I'll tell you that right now. There's nothing more attractive than a woman that has ability in this world. She's a babe. So what else did our babe direct? Well, I'd look it up. Here it is, Promising Young Woman, a movie that stuck with me that I never brought to you guys. So immediately after Saltburn, I watched Promising Young Woman. So 3 years, Saltburn's a 2023 movie, and we still watched that a year late. But Saltburn was so impactful to me. I needed to know. And now we have two movies directed by this girl. Just two. And they're just there. Do we say masterpiece? Do we say perfectly socially commentated? Do we say woke but not woke? Do we say SJW but or do we just say of the time? And I repeat that a lot on this show. Promising Young Woman is an idea that literally cuts glass. It's a revenge movie. Our protagonist dies. Sorry, we do spoilers here, but our protagonist dies. But she gets her final revenge for her and her friend. She puts her life out there. She dedicates her life in exacting a level of revenge from her friend who just was, revenge porn, or just she was used and the system worked against her. The school, the lawyers, even her family, and in a way, even her. But this girl lost herself. She, just for lack of going through the plot, but she unwells herself, we'll say. So her friend, played by Carey Mulligan, right? We know her from Drive. We know her from The Great Gatsby, Baz Luhrmann remake. This girl's, I love her. I just like looking at her on screen. But her friend picks it up, and then we get a revenge, and it's not Kill Bill, aka Padders. We get this journey of truth and reconciliation. And by the time we reach the end of this movie, what happens with her? It's a little bit like when I rewatch this movie, you want a different ending. And some movies have that effect. La La Land has that effect on me. Every time I watch La La Land, I want Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone to get together. I hate the ending of that movie. That's why I keep watching it. So where are we, though? Like, where are we when it comes to film criticism? Jeez, I'm a broken record. How many times do I have to say this? But where are we as a culture where you make a movie, also produced by Margot Robbie, by the way. Margot Robbie is becoming a preeminent producer, by the way. But we get this movie. We get a perfect movie poster, perfect casting, and real moments, and real commentary. But we get a story, right? We get like a legit story. I guess it's a Me Too movie. Who cares? Who cares? It's insanely impactful. And then our director, our writer, doesn't become a household name in the annals of film buffs, except for here. Think about that. Right here. And AKA Padders, my AKA Pad Army, my 69ers. I will say it and say it again. We're at the end of film criticism. I'm it and it's it. Because I go through a lot of what the other guys and gals and brands and corporations, I go through what they do. And they don't do what we do here. Emerald Fennell clearly deserved Oscar nominations. Carey Mulligan clearly deserved nominations. Multiple. I don't know. Give her one for supporting too. You know, it's not like a movie like this is without accolades. And we got, who is it? Dr. Octopus. The Dr. Octopus character is, I think about his character just when I'm walking around. Because, yeah, guys, the AKA Pad here, we walk about 3 to 4 miles a day. But, what's it? Alfred Maloney? Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, Tobey Maguire. That guy. He plays, like, the lawyer, and he kind of has this moment where he fesses up to not liking some of the events that were unfolding with this girl. And he expresses regret and remorse and says to Carey Mulligan when she finally tracks him down. But he says, and he was waiting for this day. And a lot of times movies like this have, they have that come to truth. I mean, even The Crow has this character. Like the come to Jesus character that did wrong. But it's important to have a character like him in this movie, saying what he says, feeling the way he feels, expressing what he's expressing in somewhat of a Me Too movie, because it explains every single side. And it would be irresponsible not to have his character in a movie like this. Because, again, things like Me Too, they're all encompassing. These are giant social ideas. Warranted, not warranted at the same time. Call it out, don't call it out. Kind of the same. And it's just confusing. So if you're going to make a movie that's somewhat founded in that philosophy idea. Some people might even call it a social virus. You gotta play every side. And what we see here, though, we see like a little bit of a template that we got in the Barbie movie, where Barbie perfectly plays every single side so well. We're in, and we're entertained, and we're thrilled, and we're pushed. Promising young woman deserves everything. It really does. It's a tragedy that, in my view, we got nothing. So for this episode of AKAPAD, the Film Buff podcast, do me a favor. I believe this movie could still be on Peacock. Watch this movie and watch it again. Then invite some people over. And just let them know. Yeah, it's a thriller. It's a murder. It's a murder mystery movie. It's a revenge murder movie. Tell them that. Play a little bit of a marketer. If you got more boys, just say, hey, the movie's got some hot babe in it. Watch Carey Mulligan. She's a hot babe. Thank God she's not in a Star Wars franchise, DC or MCU movie. Thank God she's spared of this. I mean, I'm kind of great. I mean, like, what can we see? What else? Like, what else has Carey Mulligan be in? Let's see. Right, like Money Never Sleeps. I know that. Right, the Oliver Stone. That's a bad sequel, by the way. I like parts of it though. Well, as of right now, I cannot dig up her filmography easily, so just spare me. She's in some bangers though. So do me a favor, everyone. Check this movie out. This movie's important. It's important to pair it with Saltburn and to look forward to the third film of this filmmaker, because it does, again, deserve attention.
That's a wrap.